Welcome to the Queen's Lair, a lifestyle podcast. Get inspired by our latest tips and information about small business, entrepreneurship, natural hair, travel, food, and even relationships. Stay tuned for another great episode. I am your host, Renee Patrice. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into my podcast once again. This is actually something that it was kind of a little bit of a fire that I had to put out recently, and I'm trying to think how much details I can get. Well, I'm not going to out the parties involved, but this is one thing that I would say. When you're dealing with social media, you have to be careful about how you move on social media. Be careful how you move in public spaces, because there are people waiting, laying and waiting to take you down. The incident that happened was said party tried to slide up in the DMs, and if you read the DMs, you would be like, oh, this person totally set you up, and they know that you are a public figure, and therefore they know they can take those DMs and repost them publicly and have stuff on you and all that sort of stuff. So I want to say to the people, you don't even have to be a public figure. This is just anything that you do in life. Stop thinking that anything you post within social media is going to be personal, because you don't know, once you send the message, who all on the other side is reading that message. It could be them and their homegirls. It could be dude and all of his boys. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have no idea. We've all done stupid stuff. I include myself in this as well. And you learn a hard lesson, you know? But be careful how you move, because truly, even on the more positive side, you don't even know who's watching you. You don't know who is being inspired by you, who's looking up to you. And not that you are supposed to be a role model for, random people, but it's interesting to me when literally random people, may send me a DM message, or, people know I'm not in my DMs like that, because I try to keep it business. But they'll send, or sometimes even emails. I get more emails than anything else. And they'll be like, I've been listening to your podcast for the past couple of years. It was really encouraging during the pandemic and me building my business. And I was able to start my own business because I got your, branding 101 document, or just so many different things. And it's like, wow, I'm very conscious about what I post on social media. I have made it my, I don't even know how you want to say it. I've done the due diligence that I've never cursed on social media ever. Like, ever. Like ever. Because I told myself, when social media became a thing, I think Facebook was probably the first social media that I was ever on, Facebook and Twitter. And that was probably, maybe like 2006, something like that. I made the conscious decision that I was never going to cuss on social media. I'm even very particular about what I repost. So retweeting, I don't really tweet much. I'm not even on Twitter like that. But I don't really tweet much on Twitter, but I do repost things on Twitter. And I'm even very careful about that. Sometimes there may be cussing just because of the context of, a news video or something to that effect. But I am very conscious of that too. So I wanted to say that because this past incident really brought it back home again, that we really have to be careful how we move in social media, social circles, in life, because once it's out there, you can't take it back. You know what I mean? Like, and that goes for anything. And it's not just social media. It's even in life. Just personally, once you say something, try to think before you act. Because once you say something, even if you're in a disagreement with someone, it could be your significant other, or your parents, whatever it is, a friend. Once you say certain things out of anger, once you say something out of, just emotion and not thinking things through, you can easily ruin relationships. You can easily have that person looking at you sideways literally for the rest of your life. You can't take a lot of those things back. And we have all made mistakes. I have said unkind things in the heat of an argument or just not even thinking, I'm very conscious of that now. Like I would hope that I've never, at least I hope in the last several years that I didn't hurt someone's feelings by something that I've said, because I'm so particular about that. You know what I mean? I really am. Now, if somebody is acting crazy and acting the fool and I have to, say something, or, sometimes people are down on themselves and I want to push them further past their fears or something to that effect. I know it can be perceived as being tough or mean or something, or something like that. But I make sure that I preface it with like, look, I know you can do this. I know you can succeed at this. And then go into the, the motivational push type of thing. So I am very conscious about that. So, but this past incident recently just brought it on back home again to remember not everybody has your good interest at heart. You know what I mean? They just don't. And you have to be careful about people reeling you in, especially when it comes to social media. People will send you all the DMs. They will talk to you. They'll be sweet to you and all this sort of stuff. Next thing you know, they're sharing your personal conversations with the open public. You know what I mean? I think it's much more smart if you are in a dating situation or whatever, just be on the phone, because so many, and also too, so many things get lost in translation through text message. You can use emojis and all of that, but people also misconstrue things in text messages all the time, so I'm even more of a person to leave a voice note more than a text message, just because I feel like I want that other person to know exactly what the emotion was at that time, so it could be my mom, it could be my sister, it could be friends, whatever the scenario is. I never want people to be misconstrue the situation. So anyway, that incident definitely reminded me of that. And I said, you know what, that would make a great episode for a podcast. We have to be careful how we move on the public fronts. You know what I mean? People have their brands, and, especially if you're a business owner, your brand is always out there. Your brand is always being represented by you, even when you don't know. And anytime I get an email of someone saying, you know what, I really appreciate your words on this, that, or the other, or I was at such and such conference 5, years ago, and you spoke on, entrepreneurship or whatever it is, wherever people may have seen me somewhere, or they're a subscriber, to my content, whether it's my social media handles or especially this podcast that you're listening to right now, I am aware of certain levels of responsibility. Now, it's not my job to heal the world. It's not my job to, be somebody's, mentor and all of that. But if I have been that to anyone, I am grateful for that. And I'm glad that I'm able to stand in that space, So I am very, very careful about, how I present myself, and I always try, and that's why I don't really edit these things. I just want to be real. I share my real thoughts and real feelings about things, because I feel it's important just to be yourself, even my friends who may listen to my podcast, how I talk on here is, how I talk with them. So I always want to make sure that I stay as genuine as possible, and I will never let success or anything that I've accomplished taint that. You know what I mean? That's just, I don't ever want to change. Okay, you want me to make millions? Sure, I'm gonna make millions, but I'm gonna still be Nay from back in the day, because that's all I know how to be. So, like I said, these incidents, when they happen, it just reminds me that we have to be diligent about what you put out, because what you put out is how people are going to perceive you. Even if you're putting out a fake persona, this is how people are going to perceive you. So how do you really want people to see you? How do you really want people to receive you? That's another thing. How do you want people to receive your whole entire being, your aura? We often talk about people having certain types of energy and aura. How do you want to be perceived? Perceived and received? I want people to receive what I say, especially on this podcast, or if I'm speaking on my social medias or whatever. I want them to receive motivation, encouragement, love, respect, peace, And I know that is the case because of the feedback that I get. And what I was setting out to do is actually being accomplished, which is amazing. So again, be careful what you're tweeting. Be careful what you're reposting. Even though you want to support people and all of that, make sure you put your little disclaimers in the caption and all of that. Go live and explain certain situations so that people understand who you really are at your core. So people understand your heart, like for real, Don't leave things vague about who you are or where you stand. That's like the worst thing you could do. Don't be wishy-washy. Don't flip-flop back and forth. Now, we don't do that. In this day and age, you have to say what you mean and mean what you say, And yeah. So, yeah, it was a little bit of a fire that I had to put out. The other party involved was trying to, it was a bit of almost like a blackmailing type situation, but it was handled, okay? But yeah, be very conscious about how you want to be perceived, how you want to be received by people, and honestly, just be yourself. Just if you be your genuine self, talk about your ups and your downs, that kind of thing. Y'all listen to this podcast. I'll tell you about times that I have failed miserably and still do sometimes, and just, okay, I'm going to be better tomorrow. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely pay attention to that and be intentional. I know I talked about being intentional as in writing things down, and this is part of that too. Be intentional. Be intentional about just being yourself. The work that you put in to be fake, why? Just be yourself. Go out of your way to just be you. And I promise you, if you're trying to be an influencer, especially if you're trying to be an influencer or a personality, when you are genuinely yourself, people will connect with that. Because you can only keep up a fake persona, but for so long, So anyway, I hope you found some good nuggets of information from that. If you want to follow me on social media, please do. I am on all socials as @OnyxQueenMedia. Instagram is my most active. Look at that. My mind went blank right there for a second. Oh, you can email me. I always forget about that. You can email me hello@onyxqueenmedia.com. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye. Online savings simplified. Don't search for coupon codes ever again. With one click, Honey's smart shopping assistant will automatically apply discounts to your cart in seconds. Save on all your favorite things. Easily pay less for products you're already buying online. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Join Honey for free. It takes 2 clicks to add Honey to your Chrome, Safari, Firefox, or Opera browser. Find savings in seconds. While you shop, Honey will find working promo codes across the entire internet, and you save instantly. With one click, Honey will apply the best deals to your cart. It's that easy. So what are you waiting for? Get Honey. Download it today. Visit our link, www.tinyurl.com/ONYXHONEY. That's www.tinyurl.com/Onyx Honey. Start saving right now.